gentlemen, welcome back to Do the Research. We had a small week away, but we're back in here with a special guest today. I'm joined by the one and only Tim Dudley, my father. Say hi to them, Dad.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah, so I just thought I'd bring him in today so we could talk a little bit about the auction industry as a whole, where it was, where it's been, where it's going, and that sort of thing. So, obviously, I know some of these answers, but we're gonna go through them. So, when did you start being an auctioneer?
That's funny you should mention that because today is actually my 40th anniversary from graduating from auction school.
Well, congratulations,
Yeah.
40 years.
Yeah,
That's
40 years.
It's twice my age.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's a very long time. So I guess I'll follow that question up with why did you become an auctioneer?
That's a great question. Well, my just a real quick story. I was an automobile mechanic, so I worked on dump trucks, cars, that kind of stuff. My specialty was dump trucks. And my dad took me to an auction sale one day. Auctioneer sold this piece of property for $36,000. My dad was the backup bidder, but not the actual winning bidder. And my dad turned to me and said, "You know, that guy just made $3,600." And I'm like, "I can do that." I didn't know that how little I did know, but I was too stupid to be scared. Mm-hmm. So I basically went to auction school 2 weeks later and came back, sold all my tools, got in the auction business, starved to death for 5 years, and here we are 40 years later, and, you know, we got a pretty good name, and we've done a pretty good job.
Yeah. Well, that's what I like to hear.
Yeah. Else you wouldn't be here.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what I'd be doing. So I guess that kind of goes into this next question I want to ask is, do you think that the auction industry is harder to get into now, or do you think it was harder to get into then?
I think it's actually harder to get into back then, because back then there was a lot of elements in what you were doing. You had to travel around the world. I traveled from Maine to Florida selling real estate and cars and machinery, so you had to travel to get to those places. You had to have facilities to do auction sales in, like if you're running a car sale or equipment sale or a cattle sale, you had to have those kind of facilities. Today it's much easier to get into. As you know, our virtual auction sales we do, on Tuesdays, we do them right here in this room, and we sell hundreds of, thousands of dollars in cars, and it's fairly easy for us to get into it. Luckily, I think what you have to know is the knowledge.
Yeah.
It takes years to get the knowledge, but being in the business for 40 years, I know what cars are worth, and I know how to sell them. I know what equipment's worth, and real estate, and et cetera. So, to answer your question, I think it's easier today to get into it than it was 40 years ago.
Yeah, man, your answers are really lining up with my questions
Is
here,
it?
so
Okay.
it's really easy to go into the next.
And we didn't practice these before we
not
started.
at all. I asked him if he wanted to hear the question. He said no. So what are some innovations in the auction industry that you thought would never happen?
Well, I remember having a conversation with my dad when I was in the business for about 10 years, and I told him, I said, one day we're going to sit in a room like a radio room and be able to auction anything in the world to anyone, anywhere. So it was like almost a little tear came to my eye when we did our first auction sale. My dad's passed away now, as you well know, but I would have loved for him to have been here to be able to see us sell our first automobile.
That's awesome.
On the World Wide Web. And we sold it to every continent in the world we sold to right from this little room. So
that's awesome. All right, so comes to one of the later questions. Final questions. Where do you think the industry is? The auction industry is going from here?
Well, I think what's going to happen is your generation, as you're getting in the business, and more guys like you are getting in the business, and you're so tech savvy. Mm-hmm. Understand how you're used to working on a computer. You're used to texting and. Where we're old school, we make phone calls and we send handwritten letters and we do the snail mail of doing an auction sale. Yeah. What's going to happen is the next generation of auctioneers, yourself and some other guys that we work with, that their kids are in the business, they're going to really innovate the business and really just put it on a much faster track.
Yeah, I'm noticing that too, just because it is the auction industry is a fast industry, and so it's definitely getting faster.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, that about does it for all my questions. Kind of rolled through them a little quickly.
That's fine. Do you have enough time that I can ask you a few questions?
Yeah, definitely.
Very good. So you've been in the business with me for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
We basically started 2 years ago in our own company. We'd worked for other companies in the past. So where do you think the business is going to go over the next year? I mean, if you look at your lifespan, it's going to be, you're going to be in this business a good 50 years.
Yeah, yeah.
But the next 10 years, where do you think the business is really going to go for you?
I mean, I'd say the progression of the auction industry in the last 2 years alone I've been in it is extremely aggressive. It's moved very quickly. I see it going 100% totally online. I think there's a niche in the real estate part of auctions that isn't fully expanded yet, as in kind of, because as I've told you, which I always thought was cool, is in Australia, all their real estate is done through auction. And
Right.
so I think the auction industry as a whole is going to grow as more people learn about it and get the more understanding of how exactly it works. And it's not this industry full of bad guys coming to take your houses.
Right. For years, that's one thing is over the years, that when you said the word auction, they just thought, hey, you're broke, you can't make your bills, we gotta sell your house to the highest bidder. Today, every real estate transaction is being auctioned, whether they want to admit it or not, because they're using escalation clauses.
Yep.
Instead of using an auctioneer, you put in your highest and best offer at $110,000, and you'll escalate up to 120. And somebody comes in and they put their same offer in 110,000, they'll escalate their offer up to 121,000.
Yeah.
Well, those buyers would have paid more money.
Yep.
Over and over and over and over again. They tell me I'd have paid another 3,000 or 4,000, but they didn't have a system in place. The auction business gives them the system that the seller can get all of their money in these kind of markets. And also, when the market turns bad, it's getting all the market there too. So this stigmatism of the auction being a bad word, especially within some of the real estate community. I mean, when you talk to someone about auctioning something, they're like, oh my God, no, I'd never do that.
Yeah.
Versus if you say, hey, would you like 25 people on your, not even in your front yard anymore, but on the World Wide Web, handing you checks.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you 100,000. This guy's going to give you 110,000. That guy's going to give you 120,000. So, like you said, that is, everybody gets used to the word auction, that it's not a bad word, it's a good word.
Yeah.
That will change your business. So it looks very promising.
Yeah, I agree. And also because, I feel like it's, again, with the whole everything's moving fast, everything's kind of going, is like you said, it's not in the front lawn anymore, it's online. So you're reaching more people, you're getting those people out in the Midwest, New York, Florida, that sort of area. And it's also easier to get to the people with the money. So it's really, I think the auction stuff is really going to kind of take over in a way, just because it can bring the most money for things.
I agree. And I think like you hit the nail on the head is we sold a car last month to a guy out in Utah, the guy who bought that $45,000 whatever car. I mean, that guy never would have came to Virginia to buy or bid or whatever on that car, but that was just very sentimental to him, and he bid on it. We shipped it out to him, and shipping's getting very cheap.
Yes.
Because people are really learning, hey, we need to move these cars all over the place. So the auction business is looking very bright. You just have to be willing to change.
Yep.
The buyers have to be willing to change, because a lot of buyers are like, if I'm not standing in front of it, I'm not buying it. Yeah. Well, I got news for you. Those guys in 10 years, they're all going to be out of the business.
Correct.
Guys like yourself, 10 years, that's just you'll be not even hardly 30 years old in 10 years. You'll be right in the prime of it. So.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's also another thing to think about is when it comes to specifically the cars and autos, classics, equipment, that sort of thing, is it really is kind of universalizing the prices of things in the market. So it's not like where Texas, like a car's worth 10 grand there, it's worth 8 grand here. Like, no, It's just 10 grand. Like, all over the country. Yep. All over the world. That's how much you pay for that car.
Yeah, and you think, okay, convertibles are hotter in California because you can drive a convertible more than you can on the East Coast. Prices will change a little bit and will kind of waffle in, but now, because of the auction business, you can offer your 300 SD Mercedes convertible to a guy in California, and he can bid on it and be from Virginia. And then for that last car we shipped out to California, it was like $700 to ship it, which is I don't even know how they did that, but
yeah, it's insane.
but you ship that car out there for $700, and basically 10 days later, you got this car sitting in your driveway.
Yeah, it's a beautiful car coming from with no rust.
Yeah,
ready to,
yeah,
ready
coming
to
out of
drive
it.
in the
Yeah,
sunset. Yeah.
been garage kept. Convertible's only been down on it 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it's a. I'm very excited about the future of the auction business, and technology is going to make things pick up, because what happens is that 300 Mercedes that you're looking at, or whatever the model of it is, you can do the research. You can have all your research done in a matter of a few seconds.
Yep.
You type that car in there, and you can see what they're worth. Same way with using these other websites of Zillow and Trilio and Realtor.com. You can see kind of where the margins are going.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
and you can be a buyer anywhere. You can buy in California, you can buy in Florida, and
All over the place.
yeah, you can buy anywhere. So
Yeah, definitely. It's exciting. It's definitely an exciting business to be in. It's definitely not a boring job. So.
yeah, and I'm excited for you and everybody who's in your age group to be able to to. Key is all of the young guys to get together so that you can come up with these things. Just like I did when I started in the business. I started when I was 20 years old in the business, or 19. So 20 years ago, 40 years. Yeah, I've been 20. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Been 20 years old. Couldn't do the math. Got too
Yeah,
old.
you ain't 40 no more.
That's right. Yeah, they ain't 40 no more. But all of us young guys, like Chris Rasmus and some of those other guys that are innovators in the business, we all stayed very close together, and we were looking for the next widget. That's what we're looking for.
Yeah.
Same way with you guys, with his kids and other kids that are in the auction business, and y'all staying close together, you will come up with the next widget and the better way to sell things. So.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you there, because I feel like we're really kind of the generation that's going away from that cookie cutter lifestyle with the high school, college, going get the degrees, moving on. We're more just kind of finding our own way to get through life and our own way to get that income. So I definitely am. I definitely feel like we're going to be quite the inventive generation.
Yeah, that's the thing is you want to, it's like. We have a nephew that helped build the NFL app. I mean, how great is that to have someone that close to you that if you came up with an app, then boom, you can build the app and you can put it out there, and next thing you know, you're the app guy with $1 trillion.
That's what everybody wants to be now.
You're the next Amazon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right. Well, we're getting close to that time. You got anything else?
No. Thank you very much for inviting me to your show, and I hope I shared a little bit with your listeners, and encourage you to come to our auction sales and listen to them online. And if we can do anything to help you, always we try to help. We try to help anyone at any time.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I definitely appreciate you coming on, and definitely bump up from our last 2 weeks. So there you go. All right. Thanks.